Welcome back. You're yawning?
No.
No? No, I'm yawning because I thought about it. Welcome, Maurice Attorney. Yay! Here we go. October 18th, 10 a.m. District Courtroom Courtroom number 4.
The robot's getting gradually more whiny. October 18th, 10 o'clock a.m.
The robot is slowly mentally degrading to the point where it won't be able to speak anymore.
The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers.
Oh,
the prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer at Studio One of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I would like to move on to your testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. First, I would like to call a familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand.
Oh boy.
Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court.
Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio. See? So this here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scene during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day.
That's me.
Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Past that, it's studios. And here it is, Studio One. This is the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and the young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio One. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now, jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m., production staff came to Studio One to perform rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was canceled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to that whole thing again? Please no. I think I can probably remember that.
So the murder weapon was a spear. How medieval.
That's right, Judge, medieval.
Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call the security officer to the stand.
All right. You say so.
Will the witness declare her name?
My, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered.
Your name, please.
Oh, dearie. No need for you to be so embarrassed. Just call me Grandma.
Your name, please.
Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names.
Wendy Oldbag, dearie. So just call me Grandma. It's practically my name. See, when I was young, see how the older children make fun of me, and can you believe it? But there's just the way I cut the chest, right? You call me Oldbags.
Objection. I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand.
I was just getting to the good part, dearie.
Perhaps we can get to the testimony. Now the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct?
You see, I was.
And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you.
You know your stuff, dearie.
Oh, jeez.
You may begin your testimony.
She sure is one hell of an old bag.
What even does that mean?
She's an old bag.
On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest have been doing a run-through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me, because a certain man walked right by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers. That man right there. And he was heading towards the studio.
But we don't...
You saw the defendant then?
We don't know it's him. It's just a costume. It could be anybody.
Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor? Or was that just a regular yes, Your Honor?
Yeah, she's regular, yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. Oh, gosh. I'm a failure as a lawyer.
That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, Sonny?
Nick, this is your chance.
Oh, God. Yeah, time to pull out the secret weapon.
I'll say it again. It was him.
Disagree. Objection! Let me get this straight, old bag. Or, Miss Old Bag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you?
Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly?
None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Oldie Tokyo. Miss Old Bag? Is this the Mr. Powers that you saw?
Of course. Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right?
Yeah. Well, I wonder.
True, Mr. Powers does play the role of Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai.
I know that. I wasn't born yesterday.
No one in this court is accusing you of that, witness.
He's having trouble calling her old bag, apparently.
However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you?
Nosy old man. Of course I have proof.
What?
What?
Even Edgeworth is surprised.
The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time.
How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look.
Wow, old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good.
Let's just hear about your proof, then.
This is a fun case.
I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. He was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy?
So he had sprained his ankle? Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. That sounds disgusting.
It does.
This is horrifying. I need to go clean my entire body. Inside and out. Trip and fall?
Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Power sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course.
You helped make it better.
I kissed it where it hurt.
Let's just skip over that part, shall we?
Where was the assistant then?
Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle.
You may continue your testimony.
He broke one of the props, maybe? He broke a prop?
Sure did. His own samurai spear.
His samurai spear? The murder weapon?
Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it.
This strikes me as a significant detail. I better write this down in the court record.
So what does it say now?
That says, murder weapon. Breaking the shaft has been mended with duct tape.
Okay.
Important to know.
Just looking at what we have. And these are just... That's not important.
Oh.
Oh. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is... Where is this steel samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes? And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. Even though I was doubting it a few minutes ago, it's right now.
Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? Alright, here we go. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows the steel samurai. Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers.
The defense has a point, which he proved a few minutes ago. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also.
Good job, Judge.
Finally using his noggin for once. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor.
Damn it, Edgeworth.
Will the witness continue her testimony, please?
No need to ask twice.
Ah, boy.
The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them.
Alright.
So, if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be this steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Alright, here we go.
There's nothing to, go off of there.
I know. No one else went there. If they had, you would have seen them. I guess we should brush on some of this, I guess. Are you sure?
The witness has answered the question. Anyone going into the studio had to pass by the witness.
That's right, Sonny. You'll let him have it, edgy boy.
Edgy boy?
Oh, Windbag sure has balls. Or, well, you know what I mean. Old windbags have a way of skipping over important details after all.
Old windbags have a way of skipping over details after all. Or for that matter, entirely forgetting them.
How convenient.
Something for you to look forward to, perhaps. Yes. Are you absolutely sure?
Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody suspicious looking passed by at all.
Nobody suspicious looking. Right. What about before you got to the guard station?
You mean before 1 o'clock? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention... if they had, I would have seen them.
Well, I already pressed her on that one. There's only one more I hadn't pressed. It's the first one.
This one? How do you know that?
Eh? Didn't Didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective. And then, after some rubbish about it being a secret, pal, he told me everything.
I see Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. Okay, so we have to be presenting something, I imagine. Unless
Alright.
it's just going to the end.
Let's go to the end and see what happens. Because apparently that's a thing that you can do.
It is.
Oh.
Old windbag. Alright, so it's presenting on something.
Okay,
Time
so
of
let's
death.
see. What do we got? You got the autopsy,
It's 2:30. That's
2:30. That's,
You
yeah.
have to do the shots by a spear.
This is the guide
Guide
map to
map.
Golden Studios.
That shouldn't be an issue for
Don't
now.
think so.
Card key.
Yeah,
I don't think
no,
there's
it's
evidence.
He's dragging one leg, blah blah. It's photo number 2. It's photo number 2.
Right.
Photo number 2.
Right. No one else went there. Maybe went through? Or I would have seen them, maybe?
I don't know if this is the one too.
Yep, this seems right. Hold on! Look at this photograph. One more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct?
Yes, sirree, Sonny.
So whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture.
And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground.
What? Right. Anyway, it's also true the computer in the guard station records all security cam data.
Boom. You know, if we wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening.
That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo were printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2.
Even I know that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October the 15th. Really, Sonny?
Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end where it says photo number 2.
Photo number 2.
The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo?
Order! Order! Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright.
Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not one, but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there's only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself.
Eh? You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers.
But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by.
Well, yes, that's what it would seem to me.
Can the witness explain this to the court?
I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help.
Huh? Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either.
Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper, too.
Die.
Whippersnapper.
Something the matter, Miss Oldbag?
That's right. I just remembered something.
Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai.
Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way.
I see. Your testimony, please? These people change their minds an awful lot in this game.
Yes.
Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security camera and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day.
Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this.
Well, of course, Sonny, I've only just remembered it.
Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination.
Well, I'd say this was a turn from the unexpected, but I kind of expected this.
So did I, Maya. So did I. Yeah, we're gonna have to hold it on that.
Yeah.
How exactly to determine what isn't suspicious looking?
Oh, you can tell by looking at their faces, for the most part.
For the most part? This is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag.
Well, I didn't touch that suspicion-looking photo, Will Powers photo, did I?
I think he's missing the point. Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased?
A fanboy.
Fanboy?
Steel Samurai fanboys. Real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day.
Wait a second. Didn't you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words.
Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside, and well, that's where they could come in.
They come in through the drain?
I told you they were freaks. Oh,
And?
they're kids, children, whippersnappers.
Kids! So in the photo that you erased...
It was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade.
What?
Order! Order! Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day? One was the Steel Samurai, dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade.
Oh yes, well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him.
A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear? Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy.
Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data.
Nick? What's going on? I mean, the boy was there, that makes him a suspect.
Yeah, they're already trying to unsuspect him.
I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time.
Yeah. Stop forgetting vital information. Jeez. Like everyone leaves it out on purpose. Mr. WP? Yes? Tell me straight. Were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio. I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest.
So who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo?
How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really.
What? You should take better care of that stuff.
I couldn't imagine anyone who would want to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me?
Somebody who's a big fan of the show might want to steal it.
Doesn't look good. You're the only one likely suspect right now.
Nick, what are we gonna do?
First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this.
Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day.
Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually.
Hey, Nick, it's time.
Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sound like that.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on the matter? The prosecution's thoughts are quite simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still no one else that could have committed the crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts?
The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime.
Bam. Order! Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized.
Right. Great, as if the stakes weren't high enough.
So, who is this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed the murder? best option.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the assistant girl, we kind of don't want to go after her.
Yeah, she's sweet. The old lady, I don't think could have done it.
But people doubt the grade school boy, like super hard.
Mm-hmm.
But we would need to figure out who it is first, and that would buy time.
Yep. Probably our best bet. With the grade school boy. Why isn't anyone saying anything?
But are you seriously suggesting the boy did it, Mr. Wright? Grade school boy kills veteran action star with spear? For one thing, it was the steel samurai holding the murder weapon. Would you care to explain just how the boy was involved?
Maybe that was a dumb move on my part.
Maybe? How about absolutely, Nick? Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you, as I warned.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
May we move on, Mr. Wright?
This fight isn't over yet. If you would, Your Honor, one more chance, please.
Very well. Go ahead. So I guess it is the assistant. We're not going to say
Maybe
this.
the old lady.
You want to say this is the old lady?
Yeah,
Alright.
I think so. It was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag.
Who?
The steel samurai's dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag.
What? Whippersnapper.
That seemed way too easy of a suggestion.
Yeah.
Order. Is this true, old bag?
Old Bag. That's Miss Old Bag to you.
Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the steel samurai costume. And slipped into Studio 1 to see the murder.
Still not sure why the young boy is just thrown out the window.
I guess since this gear's heavy, they just don't really accept that a kid would pick it up.
Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the steel samurai costume?
Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers.
I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright.
Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. Huh? That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time.
What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there. Do something.
What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day.
But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer?
You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too.
Indeed.
That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope.
Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy.
The one I suggested 5 minutes ago that people said no?
The boy. The one whose photo I erased.
He's only a grade schooler, as you said. Second or third grade, was it?
That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? I said literally the same thing 5 minutes. Okay. That boy is
not the killer.
What? How can you be so sure? Oh, or is it be nice to the kids and mean to your elders day? Whippersnapper.
I have proof.
Proof?
Indeed. Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder?
I do?
Do I? This?
Right.
Because the only way to get into the studio, but there's also the grate.
Right. So you could have got in.
Yes. So this is the only thing.
Breaking the shaft is mended with duct tape.
Because that has something to do with it.
Check the map. Just click on it. I want to see what it looks like. Studio 1. Yeah, you need the thing to get in, but he can use the grate to get in, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm thinking the spear is the best bet here.
Alright, let's try it. Your Honor, the murder weapon was the samurai spear. That very spear is shown here in this photo.
Oh.
How could the boy have taken the spear? It's impossible.
I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this?
The windbag, speechless. This has got to be a first.
Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy. What was her name? Something old bag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. The court is adjourned.
Click. I mean, hammer sound.
Wait a second. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me. I'm talking. Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk.
Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony?
Actually, they must know. There's something I was told not to talk about.
Not to talk about?
By whom?
You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk?
Well, testify.
Excuse me?
Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder.
Excuse me?
They said they had nothing to do with it, see?
That makes them more suspicious.
So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're gonna go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free.
Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now?
Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap. I always do what I'm told.
No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination.
Gladly, Your Honor. I guess we try. Makes no sense. Who were these people?
Well, the director and the producer, for starters.
The director?
We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director?
Makes no sense.
Of course.
Yes, well, I was surprised nobody asked about it.
So, where were these people?
The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime, and they had a meeting after that.
Where?
Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer.
Studio 2? There was a Studio 2?
Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was falling.
After the monkey's head was falling over.
Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination?
I think I've already asked all my questions, but... guess I'll continue. Nothing to do with it. So, you were told not to talk.
That's right, by the studio and TV bigwigs, no less.
Why didn't I hear about this?
Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it.
We pressed on this, right?
Yeah.
Do we press on that?
If they had nothing to do with it, they're the director and the producer. That literally makes no sense.
Miss Oldbag, this is a trial for murder.
I know that, silly. Still, they were pretty convincing about not having nothing to do with it. And they gave me a little bonus on the side.
So you got your bonus and you still talked. I think I've asked all the questions I have to ask. Did we press everything? You can check if you want to. I guess there's no harm in getting as much info as I can. How many had been in the studios that day? Jeez. I guess the press I'm missing, then we're probably good. So they were actually in the studio?
Yes, the whole day. When they heard about the murder, they beat it before the cops came.
I'll kill this woman, I swear it.
I feel sorry for Edgeworth. Almost. She really left him hanging on this one. Them? Who were these people?
Well, the director and the producer for starters.
The director.
We should have... Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is the same thing. Okay. Then I think we are good in terms of that. Ah! Super speed! We've asked that question. Your Honor, we've learned there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer, and some bigwigs were all present. Yet as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it's impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers.
The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. The court is adjourned.
Hooray! Cough.
Cough.
October 18th, 1:04 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me.
Oh, really? It's nothing.
Oh, or should I...
We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination.
So, Nick, have we figured out just who it was in that Steel Samurai costume? Could it really have been old Windbag?
What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really.
Neither do I, Nick.
Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers.
Poor old Windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her.
Well, she wasn't winning any points in there with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios.
Right. We'll be back to visit you soon.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. To be continued on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
You think you've got me cornered, Goku? Well, let me tell you something about me. I'm still only at 50% of my power. I still got another transformation left that you haven't seen yet.
Oh, God. What is this turning into? This is the second time we ended it with the stupid Dragon Ball Z joke. Jeez. Well, thank you so much for watching, friends and fellow Meatball. Subscribe and become part of Meatball. If you hit that subscribe button and turn on the magical notification bell, you become part of the massive Meatball that we all are as subscribers of the Star and Ara YouTube channel.
Every time you say that, it gets more and more gross.
Yeah, it's continuously getting grosser.
It really is.
Imagine making t-shirts that just have a meatball on them.
It just says meatball in like the most deadpan font ever.
Honestly, that's the goal, to have enough subscribers where we can sell merch, where it's just the most deadpan meatball possible shirt ever. Yeah, if you'd like us to get to that point, share this video around, or share one of your favorite videos around. My personal favorite, I have a lot of videos that I've made. My top 10 I put a lot of work into, and they don't get a lot of views. Those are my favorite ones, but that's okay. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble for no reason. That is Starnari. You could call me Chris. Become part of Meatball. Subscribe. Bye, I guess. Arden, do you have any words you want to say?
Ha!